it's important for us in the movement, in any movement, but in particular, I'm discussing the Moorish movement right now. It's important for us to take a posture of judging people by their deeds. Too often in the community in the past has it been animosity from temple to temple, from organization to organization, because of what we think we know about somebody or something that we may have heard, or just how certain members' attitudes towards one another. For example, someone might be in a position of power and may not get along with this person, and so the people that are under the influence of this position, this person in power, now they feel a particular way towards individuals that they may or may not even really know. But see, as Moors, if you really sciencing, you're sciencing minus emotion, and you're not really going off feeling anyway. So you're going to be judging someone by their actions and their deeds. And it's important, especially in this time when Moors become popular, so much so that you have people like J Electronica and other stars that are in some regards promoting or promoting themselves perhaps as being Moors or Moorish, or having some more type of knowledge. But anytime you put on a fez, then you're supposed to be standing on your demonstration. Now you're not supposed to just be wearing a fez if you really don't know what it represents, and if you're really not sciencing, and if you're really not active in uplifting fallen humanity. So since being a Moor is popular now, you have artists that are, people have to understand that they're artists, and they're basically showing society what is going on in our community, what is being represented. And now Moors have come to the point where they have to be represented in these theaters now. You know, just like when you used to watch Star Trek, you could see what was going on politically. They would use Star Trek to tell the story, so on and so forth. Or when you had James Brown back in the day, during the movement of Black Power, singing songs like I'm Black and I'm Proud. But this is why we have to be careful, because remember, he flipped after that into I Live in America, and singing that song. I believe that was one of the songs in Rocky, one of the most if you in regards to propaganda, I mean, that was a propaganda movie, and there you had him singing that. So it's important for us to not adopt these people or jump at the chance because we see them in affairs. We need to judge them by their actions and deeds, because what they can do is flip-flop on you, and then you'll be standing there looking silly for supporting this person. But it's natural for us to want to use any opportunity to promote being Moorish or promote Moorish unity. But we need to protect ourselves, and the way we can do this is by judging people by their actions and deeds, judging them by the fruits that they produce for the Moorish community, so that we're not supporting someone merely because they're wearing a fez, but we're supporting them because we know that they're demonstrating, and we know that they're helping to uplift fallen humanity and carry out this great missionary work. So I just wanted to speak on that because it's important. And as we're unifying across the country, and the internet has made the world so small, even the globe, and we're unifying in the Moorish movement of the world, and we're dealing with people across the waters in the UK, in Canada, so on and so forth, in the Moro Islands. You know, the world is small now, so communication between our brothers and sisters across the globe has become easier. And so we're going to be dealing with one another, and we have to know the people's character that we're dealing with. But we also have to know how to judge for ourselves, because there's people that are in the movement that are not trying to bring about unity, and that will sow that type of discord. And it shouldn't be surprising, because the shaitan is everywhere, the lower self is everywhere, and the agents who are in opposition to Moorish growth and development are everywhere. And that's why it's important to science minus emotion, so that we don't get manipulated by individuals such as that. But now, moving on to Gaza and the West Bank, and we see what's going on over there, and it's a terrible, sad state of affairs, because here you have Israel, this nation, this entity that has been created in the 1940s, I believe, stomping all over the sovereignty of the Aboriginal peoples, the people that have ties to the land. They're usurping their birthrights, but they're also usurping Moorish birthrights. And this is seldom spoken about in the media. In fact, there's an article in the Final Call that grazes over the issue in a totally unrelated article. It's called, it's regarding the people of the house and their duty to humanity. And it talks about how the Moorish Jews and the Moorish Muslims, the originals in Spain, brought knowledge into the European world during the Middle Ages. And it talks about how the Moors in Spain also ruled Jerusalem. You rarely hear about the Moors in Jerusalem, and Palestine being the capital. And the story by Abu Madin Shawaid, where he recounts how there was a waqf put in place, and a waqf is a land grant that was put in place by Salahuddin to honor the Moors for fighting in the Crusades and helping defend the Holy Land along with many other Muslims. And the Moors were given a land grant. And to this day, there is a Moorish entrance known as the Moors Gate in Jerusalem. And this gate, around this gate, was land that had been granted to the Moors. And when the Jews came in the 1946 and 1947, this is the land that they took. This is the land that they bulldozed the barracks that were there. They took the land. And this is the land that Israel possesses that is being fought over. And nobody wants to speak about that. No one wants to recognize that Moors have a stake in what goes on over there. And for those that would say, well, you know, we're labeled Negro, black, and colored over here, and there's no way that anybody would ever even recognize so-called black people as having any part in that. In the Waqf, there was made mention of that by Salahuddin. He said, regardless of race, gender, color, and more importantly, status. There was obviously issues going on back then with the Moors, and we know this. But status, that speaks to the very question of the so-called Negro, black, and colored, who proclaim to be Moors. It speaks right to the heart of that, because regardless of status, it must be recognized. And then he goes on at the end of the Waqf to curse anyone who would violate the Waqf, the land grant, and that they would not be a believer. And this is Salahuddin that we're talking about, celebrated in Islamic history, in the Arab Muslim world and the Muslim world in general. High honors to Salahuddin. And he said that if this land grant was to be violated, that the people that would be doing it would be disbelievers.